story.
When we decided to make a movie together, I was just trying to find something that is relatable for me, write what you know. So after talking to these two, I just wrote about how I was raised, being British Filipino, being like the more petite one here, and not feeling at home. And then having parents that travel around, I've moved around a lot. Like I never felt one with where I was at, even when I'm here. I feel more Filipino than any other country I've lived in, but it's hard to get into that. So the concept was based off of my experiences, my two friends' experiences, also being raised in an international school here, and my sister feels the same way, Jasmine feels the same way, pretty much everyone who I was raised with feels that way, and that's how we create the concept of the movie.
And it's more than just the heritage and, your cultural backgrounds. So many people just feel like outsiders, even if I'm in a Chinese school with all Chinese kids and I was born in China, I can still feel like an outsider, right? It's just about that sense of belonging or the lack thereof. So I think it's a movie that resonates with a lot of people, and the more people we've pitched it to, the more people we're surprised that that resonated with you too. Like it's been really interesting to see how many people actually understand it so quickly.
It feels kind of like how a lot of millennials feel, or any Generation X or whatever. You're not only you're growing up as a teenager trying to find out who you are as an adult, but you're spending the whole time doing an extra amount of work trying to find out who you are within your own culture. Like having some of my friends who are Japanese or American, or anyone who is raised in their culture, not a third culture kid, they skip all of that. They don't have that. So we spend the whole time confused. Because, example, when I'm home, I'm considered the white friend, even though they all know I'm Filipino. But when I'm in the States or I'm in England, I'm the Asian friend. So there's a constant, battle of what you do. Like, I take my shoes off in the house, I eat with a spoon. I don't use a knife. But I still, and I think cereal is dessert. Well, it's like, there's just so many small things make it a bit confusing, that overall it just takes over. Yeah. It's the same with them.
Yeah, I think, in general, it's just you're growing up in a place and you feel like you're supposed to be one way, but really inside you're not. And I think it's just that whole thing of trying to be something or someone you're not. And that's part of just having an identity. Or if you don't have an identity because you think you're supposed to be a certain way, it's just that feeling of being lost. It's just a really weird sensation to kind of walk around life with. And I think most of us just kind of, we live through life trying to find ourselves. And that's a big part of it. It's just the kind of person you identify with, no matter what it might be, whether it be, your race, heritage, sexual orientation, whatever it is. Just knowing who you are and being okay with that is such an important part. I'm in my 30s now, and I still feel like I still have to find myself all the time.
But you look like you're in your teens.
But yeah. I just shaved yesterday. I'm really proud of it. Of the political... Thankfully, we live in Los Angeles.
It's a bubble.
It is kind of a bubble. Chris, have you felt any tension?
Well, I'm from Australia. The part but I live in LA.
He's from Australia and he loves basketball, so it's been really tough for him here.
This is over. That was last week. Come on, that was 2 weeks ago. We're done with that. In Australia, people love Trump. And it's not because they love him, they just love the idea of someone so insane being in power that they never know what's going to happen next. So it's just funny. And most of the people that I talk to have that opinion, especially in Australia. They just think he's a joke. Well, I haven't had balut yet, so I don't feel like I've properly adjusted and done the proper Filipino thing. I haven't ridden a scooter in crazy traffic, so I don't think I've adjusted fully yet. I'm still getting there. I got caught in the rain the other day.
It's not that you haven't adjusted fully; you just haven't experienced everything.
Yeah, I need to experience more.
Yeah.
But you had sisig.
I had sisig, pig's face. That's pig's face, right?
Yeah.
I ate a pig's face. It's great.
Yeah, chopped up.
Yeah. It wasn't surprising to me, but it was shocking. You know what I mean? Like I knew in my head that it existed, but to actually see it and drive through it and it becomes more than just a location and an idea. You're seeing people really living there, and it affected me a bit. Like seeing that, it makes you, it really makes you appreciate things. And then it was surprising to me how quickly it changed too. It'd be a poor area, and then you'd cross a couple of streets, and you'd be in, there'd be a nice building there. So it really highlighted the gap between the rich and poor here. So it was interesting for me to see, and I guess it's something that we always knew about, but to see it is a different story. And so for the film, we're trying to really, there's so much there's so much content about poor Manila and slum and this and that, and we wanted to make a film to celebrate the good parts of Manila as well. So, in our story, we've got a very modern, cosmopolitan, metropolitan version of Manila, the side that you don't get to see so much in films. We're not focusing on the poverty in that. It's just life in another large Southeast Asian city. So it's something that we purposely wanted to highlight, right?
We wanted to do what Wong Kar-wai does for China. We wanted to do what Sophie Coppola did in Tokyo, Lost in Translation. We're just doing that version. I mean, there's so many other movies. We don't need to do what everyone else is doing. We're just giving it my perspective, their perspective. We're just trying a different thing.
Want to show how it's more fun in the Philippines. I want to get a Lamborghini.
For all of, well, for me and Chris especially, but this is the first time for all of us that we're producing a film that we get to own. This is our film, and that's the first time it's really happened. We've all worked on numerous films in a lot of different capacities, so this is a huge learning experience for us. Even though we've been through this process, we've never been on making all the decisions, calling all the shots. It's been really cool, and just that burden of responsibility. I'm getting used to handling that. But ideally, we make a film that we personally enjoy, that resonates with us, and in doing so, we hope it resonates with other people as well.
Also, we're in a very fortunate position where we've come at the right time.
Yeah.
The landscape's changing. Representation, diversity is a part of the conversation now, and fortunately, we can actually tell stories that are relevant to that conversation. And in that sense, we have a responsibility to, because if we don't do it, who else will? We can't rely on the established model of filmmaking to create content for us. We really got to go chase it ourselves. So it's a great opportunity, and this is the first step in us doing that.
Yeah, and that comment is more for America and how Hollywood has been with their films. So on that front as well, ideally we can show the world outside of the Philippines what Manila can be like from our perspective.
So just being someone raised here and being raised with Filipino cinema, I miss there's this golden age of cinema back here in the 80s, and nowadays it's very hard for independent cinema to be seen outside of Manila. And for me, being a Filipino filmmaker, I really want to push the way that Indonesia pushed the raid. I want to push our art, our form. I don't want to just have the same old shit. Same old shit every time. I want to see Filipino artwork seen in the masses outside. I want to help. There's the Lav Diaz's, the Brilliant Mendozas, but there's no ladies doing it outside. There's one woman in the States that had a movie at Sundance. She made Motherland out here. I want to see more of that. I want to see everyone who's bisexual, pansexual, gay, whatever, getting all their films out, seen, because there was beautiful, whatever. I forgot that doc. I want more of that. I don't want the same stuff. I want to help Filipino art, and film is one of the only forms of artwork. You can get every other form of artwork into a 2-hour part. So I just want to help. That's for me, just get more people outside. Because being also half English, everyone sees British cinema, but no one ever sees Filipino cinema. I ask like my two mates that I brought here, they've never seen a Filipino film. And that's totally like we have a problem with distribution here, and I want to help that. That's my goal with mixing all of our stuff.